Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't wanna miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
Hey, what's good? Welcome to another Live Wire Sports Media update. All right, so this video is pretty much about Caitlin Clark's agent, Erin Kane. Now, Erin Kane, she represents, a lot of players. She even represents Melissa Smith, who is also she's also Caitlin Clark's agent as well. And I came across a video from WNBA Republic. I don't know her name completely, but that's her YouTube channel. She's also on X as well. So if you get a chance to check out her videos, go ahead and follow. But she had this clip because it was a clip of Erin Kane doing an interview with this guy. I had it in my bookmark on X, but I can't find it. So thank God that WNBA Republic had this video. And I wanted to hold on for 1 second. There we go. I was a little low there. I wanted to play this video because I want to highlight certain things about Erin Kane and how she talked about other players and who she represent and everything like that. But then when it came to Caitlin Clark, she kind of like took her back. I don't know if the question took her off guard or whatever the case might be, but we all know that Caitlin Clark Nike deal is pretty a bad deal. And some of us say, hey, Caitlin Clark needs to come to the table, come to Nike, say, hey, I want to renegotiate my deal. I did went back and look at where I think Under Armour had offered her like $16 million. And then I think Adidas offered her $6 million. I think Puma offered her $3 million, something like that. But me personally, I felt like Caitlin Clark should have. I know she was with Nike for a minute, and whatever the case may be, represent Nike and all of this stuff, and I get it. But Nike has not promoted her. Nike has not put her in the forefront. Nike has not even did anything remotely advertising when it comes down to Caitlin Clark. We see now that Paige Becker's getting a shoe deal. We already see Asia Wilson getting a shoe deal. We already know Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu, they all got shoe deals, except for Caitlin Clark. Now, some people say, hey, maybe they want to do a whole rollout with Caitlin Clark shoe coming out this year. I don't buy that because LeBron James got a shoe deal when he was a rookie, and his shoe was his signature shoe came out right before the season. Caitlin Clark's shoe deal should have came out before the season. Hell, Caitlin Clark's shoe should have came out around the All-Star if you wanted to make a grand rollout appearance. Hell, Caitlin Clark's shoe should have came out around the playoffs with her first time in the playoffs with the team. There's so many ways Nike could have promoted her. Nike didn't promote her well when it came down to her triple doubles. They didn't promote her when she won Rookie of the Year. And there's a lot of bad things about Nike, and I have heard a lot of stuff. But I want to show this clip real quick about Erin Kane and show you, to me, I think she's not a great agent. I think she got on the Caitlin Clark train because she figured that she could make money. And to me, I think eventually Caitlin Clark will fire her. I think she needs to be fired. I think Caitlin Clark should go another route, especially when you try to compare Peyton Manning and Eli Manning to what Caitlin Clark is doing. There ain't no damn comparisons. Tom Brady is a better marketable person than Peyton and Eli. So Patrick Mahomes is more marketable. You know what I'm saying? Look at Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes have been on Madden. He done been on everything. He's a State Farm rep. You know what I'm saying? Spokesman for State Farm, along with Caitlin Clark. Now Juju on there. So don't sit there and tell me that you cannot navigate a way to get your client better representation, especially when it comes to these big corporations. Hell, Wilson has been rolling out her ball all year. Even when they sold out, they came back and rolled out more balls. State Farm, look what they have done for her. So you can't tell me Nike just sit back here and not promoting her because you don't want to ruffle feathers. You don't want to make your masses mad. Nah, Caitlin Clark should have been front and center. Hell, if Michael Jordan and his mom went to Nike and negotiate their own deal, and look what it took Michael Jordan. And I'm sure if Caitlin Clark had signed with Under Armour, she would have had a shoe by now. She could say, oh, hey, I would have just signed for 3 years. She could have signed for 3 years with Under Armour. Boom, got the money. They would have been promoting her all over the place. She would have been front and center right there because Steph Curry wanted her. So, but I'm going to show you this clip real quick and I'm going to chime back in.
Well, my father always says you have to like the people who you're working with. That's what her father, she says, tells her.
You know, my dad actually always said to me, he's like, you have to like the people you represent. So like, that sounds so simple, but.
Hold on for a second. I'm going to replay that. That's pretty interesting right there. She said that. Her father said you have to like the person that you're representing. So do you think she likes Caitlin Clark? Is she just representing Caitlin Clark because she figured Caitlin Clark is a money grab, that she could get a lot of money out of her, but you're not speaking up for her for certain deals. Yeah, she has all these speaking engagements. She did all these pro-ams and stuff, but what else? When it comes down to Nike, what have you done? What have you done for her when it came down to certain issues in the WNBA with her getting fouled, hard fouled, taking cheap shots? What have you did? Have you took the hard line and step up and say, hey, my client is getting her head knocked off in the league. We need to make sure this doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? If you're an agent, let me tell you something. Drew Rosenhaus, one of the best agents there is out there for NFL players. When Tyreek Hill got in that incident down in Miami, when he was going to the game, he supposedly got arrested, got stopped by the cops, and whatever case might be, over a traffic ticket. Drew Rosenhaus, right or wrong for his client, he still came to his client defense. And now that incident is no more. So your agent's supposed to step in and be there for you. If that was Rich Paul, as much as Rich Paul, he has so many clients, he would have talked up. So don't sit there and tell me that your agent can now open their mouth. Rather if they don't like you. If your agent doesn't like you, then your agent does not need to represent you.
Well, my father always says you have to like the people who you're working with. That's what her father, she says, tells her.
You know, my dad actually always said to me, he's like, you have to like the people you represent. So like, that sounds so simple, but really approaching it from like, who am I excited to watch? Who do I think is interesting? And then like you meet and you're like, oh, there's a good rapport here. Cause you do have to be able to talk about like, so everything. I mean, it's so personal. And like, I've had 2 clients who are mothers now. Like I might be one of the first people to know they're pregnant.
Now, here's the issue. In this interview, which is 45 minutes long, more or less, she goes on to speak about all of these other people. And when she spoke about them, she lit up. She had all these great things to say. We're going to play this first one where she's speaking about this one person.
That I think a lot of other people love is like there's no one and done. You get these players and you can see their development for 4 years through college. So you might see a freshman like Malaysia Fulwiley at the University of South Carolina is just beginning to like really unlock her talent. I mean, she's so special. That's a storyline.
Now, she talked about Malaysia Fulwiley, who actually got benched by Dawn Staley a couple of weeks ago. But you talk about, and you got to pay attention to this stuff, man, because you got to listen to how these people talk and listen to look at their body language, look at how their eyes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You could tell that these people, even though she's representing Caitlin Clark, but she's not really for Caitlin Clark. She's for these other people. She's for everybody else that she likes, or women of color. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me run down something real quick for you before I get back into that video. She represents XL Sports. She's Nafisha Collar's rep agent. She's Ricky Umawale rep, Melissa Smith rep, who I mentioned earlier, Maddie Seegers. She also for the Dallas Wings, I believe. And the guy who she talking to is Howard Megdell. So I didn't know his name, but just listen to her, man. She's representing all of these people. I'm sure Nafisha Collar is one of her top clients. Enrique. Look at Melissa Smith. Now, she represents Melissa Smith and Caitlin Clark on the same team. What kind of words are going back and forth in that? What kind of things Melissa Smith telling Erin about Caitlin Clark? You understand what I'm saying? There are so many different intricacies in this situation that I would never want to be. If me personally, if I were Caitlin Clark and say, hey, look, your work is done. I appreciate you, but I need somebody to get me further. I need somebody to really get me where I need to be. You out of here. You know what I'm saying? She could fire her agent. I don't think Caitlin Clark is going to stay with this agency company for long. I don't see it. Because by the time Caitlin Clark gets her new, if the Indiana Fever are working to get her a new contract before her original contract ends, her rookie contract ends, Caitlin Clark needs a new agent. She doesn't need the same agent because they're going to try to handcuff her on what she's worth. And we already know what she's worth.
Well, my father always says you have to like the people who you're working with. That's what her father, she says, tells her.
You know, my dad actually always said to me, he's like, you have to like the people you represent. So like, that sounds so simple, but really approaching it from like, who am I excited to watch? Who do I think is interesting? And then like you meet and you're like, oh, there's a good rapport here. Cause you do have to be able to talk about like, so everything. I mean, it's so personal. And like, I've had 2 clients who are mothers now. Like, I might be one of the first people to know they're pregnant.
Now, here's the issue. In this interview, which is 45 minutes long, more or less, she goes on to speak about all of these other people. And when she spoke about them, she lit up. She had all these great things to say. We're going to play this first one where she's speaking about this one person.
That I think a lot of other people love is like there's no one and done. You get these players and you can see their development for 4 years through college. So you might see a freshman like Malaysia Fulwiley at the University of South Carolina is just beginning to like really unlock her talent. I mean, she's so special. That's a storyline I want to watch.
And she's great, and I really, really appreciate her talent and her skill. And she says all of these wonderful things about this person, and she lights up. She lights up when she's talking about them. She goes on to talk about another woman. We're gonna play this clip.
I was able to put together partnerships and deals. I was at that point, Jenny Finch was a client of that company, and we really hit it off. I really understood who she was, where she was coming from, what she wanted to accomplish. And if you think about it too, the baseball agents, the majority of their business revenue comes from playing contracts, and you do one every how many years?
Sometimes 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
sure.
It can be stretched out. Sometimes it's every year, whatever. But for Jenny, her business was a succession. It's a lot of deals, right? You're trying to make the most money, have the most brand partners. It's more labor intensive in some ways. But I loved it. And so I got to work really closely with her. She became my first client. We've worked together since 2006 to date myself a little bit. It's been almost 20 years. But yeah, that's how I got started.
That's incredible. I bet your guys' relationship has grown so much.
So she's talking about this person, and she lights up when she speaks about them. She talks about 4 or 5 other people, at least 3 other people, because she mentioned Don Staley and she mentioned somebody else. And she's speaking about these people, and she lights up when she speaks about them. But the minute he asked her about Caitlin Clark,
for fixed experience, it's been that's been a shift for me.
Scott Boris was my baseball agent. He represents Juan Soto, and you obviously represent Caitlin Clark. There's really no numbers to compare to because she's going to be off the charts. So how do you and your team think of unique ways, or you have to go and kind of go to the drawing boards and create something after that, right? Or is that stuff that you just create the new market?
Yeah, it's not like there's not an established playbook. And I'm very lucky to be working with Alan Zucker, who's probably one of the most iconic and prolific marketing agents in the history of sports. He works with Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, and he's had a ton of great experiences. And as far as clients like Caitlin, she's one of one. Mm-hmm. And
Absolutely.
So it really is just about setting the market. And one thing Alan always says, and it's very true, is the market tells us. Just it's the fans that choose. There's this idea that agents have all the control, or you can just sort of say something and make it into reality. But the reality is you're reading the situation. It's the fans that choose. There's a handful of players that have ignited this sort of level of excitement by being incredible at what they do, but also it's how they do it. So it's Serena Williams, or you can pick. It's the iconic athletes, Simone Biles, especially when it's women. And Caitlin's one of those. It's how she plays the game really captured the attention of a much, much broader fan base. And so when you're going to market, those are the comps you're sort of thinking of. It's a Serena or Simone, or a Tiger Woods who changed golf, because she's changing women's basketball. So
I see Kathy Engelbert and Christy Sides type energy. That whole thing where she mentions Caitlin Clark and then goes on, well, she's one of one. Okay. And that's it? No light, just and then it's funny. As you're going through the video, look at the expressions on the faces of the guys in the room. Look at the expressions on their face. And one of them's really? Is she saying this? And then the other one's okay, let me nod and pretend she's really saying something. And the other one is really, I can't believe this. Because she really was just glossing over oh yeah, Caitlin Clark, she's one of one. One of, just not anybody like her. No spark, no nothing when she's mentioning Caitlin Clark, which is the only reason why she on this show in the first place. They're not talking to her because she got all these other clients. You can take all them other clients and add them up together. They don't amount to what Clark is doing up here. But all you got to say about Caitlin Clark is, oh, she's a one of one. That's it? Okay. See, you lit up when you talked about all those other people you talked about. I'm telling you, at least 5 people you talked about, you lit up. No light when you start talking about Caitlin Clark. Again, now I understand why she's being abused. Now I understand why her own agent is not coming to her rescue. Now I understand. I get it. You don't really like her. And I don't know, listen, I don't know what Caitlin Clark has done to make these people come down on her. I do, and I'm going to go into it. But they don't like her, and that's clear. There was no light in this woman's eye, on her face, in her expressions, nowhere, when she started talking about Caitlin Clark. And now it's clear to me. I understand why whomever it is on her team has allowed her to suffer the abuse that she has suffered in this league. Now, if we're talking about Christy Sides and what's going on with the team and how Sides is treating Clark and the things that she was doing, and even the team itself, somebody should have said something. And I can't say she didn't say something, because Christy Sides is gone, and we call that water under the bridge. All right, we call that water. Let's pretend like she said something. But then when it comes down to the league and the fact that the commissioner is allowing this abuse to happen on the court with Caitlin Clark, I would have put together evidence, and I would have put it in a document, and we would have been sending notice to let her know, let another player hit Caitlin Clark. This is my money. This is my money. I'm going to take care of her. Let another player hit Caitlin Clark. Some fines are going out. We're going into court, because we're not going to keep letting this happen. The fact that you got referees, the girl hip checks Caitlin Clark, and you don't even call it a foul. This woman poked Caitlin Clark in the eye. You don't even call a foul. Let it happen again. This would be Caitlin Clark's Basketball Association. It'd be CCBA is what it'd be called. There's no way that I would let someone who is my star and they are my client end up with that kind of abuse unless I was in bed with them and allowing them to abuse my client.
Wow. If y'all didn't pick up what she said at that last part right now, that makes you think completely what is really going on. Her agent, if you really paid attention to her agent didn't light up. She didn't say anything. And you look at the other guys, they was like, dang, like, really? When other people talk about Caitlin, they be like, oh man, Caitlin. If you look at how she was at the pro-ams, both pro-ams, people was like gushing all over her. They was like talking about her. They was like, boom, boom, boom. Your own agent doesn't get excited about you when somebody bring up your name. She gets excited about everybody else, but she hasn't got excited about Caitlin Clark. So, as my good friend Ben Daniels would say, and Rudy would say, Ben Daniels would say, let's call a spade a spade. And that spade is Erin Kane. She's not for Caitlin. She's for Caitlin money, but she ain't for Caitlin. Whatever Caitlin could do to make herself relevant and marketable and get her that money, boom, she's all for there. We got to keep it a buck. Shout out to Rudy. You know what I'm saying? We can't be playing, because it's coming down to the wire. And that's from me, live wire. It's coming down to the wire. We starting to see these stuff. We starting to see how these people mind work. She ain't for Caitlin. I just gave y'all a whole list of people that she represent. even her soon-to-be ex-teammate, Nelissa Smith, you know what I'm saying? We don't know what Nelissa Smith's saying. We don't know what DJ Erin Kane is putting in Nelissa Smith's head to tell her agent about Caitlin Clark. We don't know how Caitlin Clark agent really feels about her, but she feels good about her money, that what Caitlin's providing her. Because like I said before, I said it on Adrian Ross' show yesterday, and I said it again. If we had a commissioner like a Roger Goodell, or we had David Stern back in the day, David Stern, who we all know, none of this in the W would be going on. None of this foolishness would be going on. Caitlin Clark would not be getting abused the way she is. I don't care if you call it hazing, rookie hazing, or whatever, welcome to the league moment, whatever. That is all BS. We ain't in the military. We ain't in no sorority. We ain't trying to play it for nothing. Caitlin Clark agent needs to be fired because she's not for Caitlin Clark, and she's not doing anything for Caitlin Clark. She's worried about them other clients, but none of them clients is Caitlin Clark. And like UNA Republic said, you wouldn't be on that podcast talking if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark. Because no, trust me, before we knew you was Caitlin Clark agent, we didn't know who the heck you was. I think it's time for Caitlin Clark to really do some self-evaluating down the line, because trust me, she might be 22, she might be young, but she ain't foolish. Many of y'all probably caught that little lyric from Janet Jackson. I may be young, but I'm not foolish. Anyway, so the thing about it is, Caitlin Clark, I said it yesterday, she's a phenomenon. She is nothing of what we have seen for women's sports, especially in the basketball, college or in the W. But her manager is mismanaging her right now. And don't be surprised that her manager is probably shutting deals down. Her manager probably agreed to that $28 million deal with Nike and got Caitlin Clark stuck the way she is right now. If I was Caitlin's parents, if I was Caitlin Clark, I would say, look, I want to renegotiate my contract for less years, and I want my shoe to come out the beginning of the 25 season. No less than that. Guys, these people aren't for Caitlin. And when your own agent is not for you, it's time to cut bait, man. It's time to cut bait. So let me know what you think about this video and what she said. I agree 100% everything, because if your agent ain't with you, your agent against you, and your agent is in bed with them, because there's no way your agent should have been allowing all of this stuff to take place. Because I would be on the phone with, you know how many athletes have fired their agents for misrepresenting them? Lamar Jackson negotiated his own contract last year with his mother and got paid. Everybody said he needed an agent. Guess what? Jaden Daniels' mother just become an agent. She represents her son. Maybe Caitlin Clark's mother or dad needs to be her agent and fire or let Caitlin Clark be her own agent and let her go to the negotiating table and play hardball with these people. Because guess what? They definitely will need her. they definitely would need her. Again, this your boy Livewire Sports Media. Hit that notification bell anytime I drop a hardcore video for you. Until then, continue to like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.